Go. Hello and welcome to another episode of CALCIO Chronicles. I'm Sheida, your football spirited language coach. And as always, I'm here with my brilliant co-host, Italy's top football analyst and sports journalist, Massimo Caputi.
Hi, Sheida. Nice to see you. And we have many arguments, many interesting arguments in this episode.
Yes, absolutely, Massimo. We had only 1 week, but in this 1 week, we had brilliant matches of round 9, as well as the European matches. So as you mentioned, we have a lot to talk about. Yes?
Yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. And also after the 9 round, we have a different standings, no?
Yes.
And Inter now is in the first place, and we have Inter, Milan, and Juventus, 3 teams in 2 only points, and interesting standings, especially because we will see the next round, the 10.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, then, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, Massimo. Now let's talk about one of the most important matches of round 9, which was Juventus-Milan, which Juventus won against Milan. What do you think about the situation with Juventus and as well as Milan?
Has been very important for Juventus, the victory, because in a big match, when you win, the points, the 3 points are more. And for Juventus is a great standing. And I told you that is important for Juventus because Juventus doesn't play the European competition, and the focus is only for the Serie A. And for this, in this special moment, Juventus can take important points for the fighting for the first place in the standings in the Serie A. And also, if has been important for Juventus, at the same time has been bad for Milan to lose the big match, especially because after also in a European competition in Champions League lost against Saint-Germain. And for Milan at the moment is difficult, is a little crisis for Milan.
Yeah, do you think that Pioli is in any sort of difficulty at the moment? Because now we will talk about the Champions League afterwards, but what do you think about the situation with Pioli?
I am honest. I was surprised for the situation of Pioli because there are a lot of polemics against Pioli, but the history in Milan for Pioli is a good history and a good job, and also after a defeat, always Milan go back up, and so I believe that also in this special moment, Milan can to improve, can to play a good football, and I'm curious about this, especially because we will have Napoli-Milan, and Napoli-Milan is a big match and a great match.
Yeah. Now, talking about Napoli, I just want to, shortly mention Napoli and what, because they're coming from 2 wins. And last time that me and you were talking about Napoli, we were saying that, we're hoping that they can show, and because of the situation of Rudy Garcia, that finally he's again reconfirmed. And we were curious to see what will happen. And now Napoli is back with 2 brilliant wins. one in Serie A and one in Champions. What do you think about the situation of Napoli?
Yes, for Garcia was important to win, to restart with good results, and the results has been good because two consecutive victories.
Yeah.
But I am honest, I want to see the next match because the result has been good, but not the football, especially against in the match in the Champions League with against the Union Berlin. Napoli won, but in only one shot with the goal. The decisive goal of Raspadori, but the football hasn't been good, and against Milan will be a great test for Napoli. In this moment, it is important to win for Napoli, but you cannot win always if you don't play well.
Okay. Yeah, but sometimes, we were talking about it before, sometimes it's more important to win than the type of game that you play. But as you mentioned, of course, that's important. Like the way that you're playing is very important. Okay, brilliant. So, shall we also talk about Inter, or would you like to talk about Inter afterwards?
No, but
shall we get into their 3-0 against Torino?
Inter, for a lot of people, Inter is one of the best favored for winning the title, no? And so it's not a surprise if Inter win game as with Torino. But we will see what's happened in the next match against Europa and against Lukaku. But Inter is one of the best, if
of course
not the only very favored for winning the title. But it's important to understand not only what Inter is doing, but also what are doing the other, because now we have 3 teams in only 2 points.
Yeah, no, it's true. And it's interesting to see how the whole thing is going to develop. Now, I really can't wait to talk about the Champions League. I mean, generally the European matches. Shall we get into that? Yes?
Okay.
Let's do that. Okay, welcome back. So let's first of all start talking about Champions League, which is my favorite. And in Champions League this week, we had 2 Italian teams that won and 2 that they lost. They were defeated. So starting from the teams that lost, the biggest one is the loss of Milan against Paris Saint-Germain. Massimo, what can you tell me about this match?
But in Champions League, we had lights and shadows because lights for the victories of Inter and Napoli, very, very important. No great match, but important result. And for the other part, we have the defeats of Milan and Lazio. 2 bad defeats because Milan didn't play a good football, and especially confirmed the problem about the goal, because Milan in 5 consecutive match of Champions League doesn't score, and so this is a problem, especially the result against Paris Saint-Germain is a problem after the defeat against the Juventus in Serie A. At the same for Lazio, I was surprised for the match of Lazio against Feyenoord, because Lazio didn't play bad, and only in the final of the match had a reaction. But during all the match, Feyenoord played better in every part of the pitch, and so is important for both the reaction in Serie A, especially because they will have two important matches: Milan against Napoli away, and Lazio at home against Fiorentina.
Yeah. Okay.
But I want to say that the best the more Milan has more problem than the other team for the qualification, because from the beginning the group of Milan is stronger than the other, and also if Lazio lose, I believe that Lazio could qualify to the second round.
Okay, so Milan is in the most difficulty at the moment in Europe. Exactly. Okay, next let's talk about Europa League, and of course the victory of Roma 2-0 against Slavia Prague, and then the draw of Atalanta. So tell me, what do you think about Atalanta and Roma in Europa League?
But Atalanta draw at the end of the match, and also when the Sturm Graz was in 10 men, in 10 players.
They had
and so unfortunately Atalanta didn't win, but at the same time Atalanta is first in his group, and so I believe that Atalanta will not have problem for the qualification. The victory of Roma was important because against the best opponent in the group, Slavia Praga, and also because Roma at the moment is first in the group. Very, very important will be the next match against Slavia Praga in Praga, and if Roma will have a good result, for Roma the door of the qualification is open, and and for Roma important to understand for another time the importance of Lukaku, because Lukaku scored again, also Bove, but Lukaku is an point of a very important player for Mourinho, and I believe that Mourinho hopes that also will be the same history against Inter Sunday in the match of Sunday.
For those people that never understood, I'm a Romanista, obviously. He's obvious.
I understand this. I understand.
Yeah. If anybody couldn't know, it's like obvious. Okay, and last let's talk about the Conference League and Fiorentina that won 6-0. I mean, they had this brilliant victory, even though they just lost 2-0 to Empoli. What's going on with Fiorentina?
We have to be honest. The opponent of Fiorentina was weak, and so is a surprise, but is important the victory always, and also because Beltram scored 2 goals, and for Fiorentina is very important to find the good shape for the striker as Beltram, at the same time also for Nzola. And after the defeat against Empoli in Serie A, was very important to win in the Conference League for the future of the competition, but also for having a good feeling for the next match against Lazio in Serie A.
Okay, very good. Thank you then. Now, let's get to talk about my favorite part, which is the next round previews. Thank you. Okay, welcome back. Now, let's talk about the next round previews. And the first match on the line is Genoa versus Salernitana. Genoa is coming from a 2-0 defeat against Atalanta, and Salernitana is coming from a 2-2 draw against Cagliari. Genoa had only 8 points in Serie A this season, 2 wins and 2 draws. And on the other hand, we have Salernitana has lost their last 3 away games without scoring in Serie A. So what do you think would be the situation for this round?
This is a match important for the salvation. For my opinion, Genoa is favored. Also, Gilardino will have Retegui again after the injury, and so is very important for him. And at the same time, Inzaghi have to change the feeling of the team. But for the final result, for me, Genoa is favored.
Okay, brilliant. And next one on the line is Sassuolo and Bologna. Now, Sassuolo is coming from a defeat against Lazio, and Bologna is coming from a win, 2-1 against Frosinone. Sassuolo have lost their last 2 games against Bologna in the first half of the Serie A, while Bologna are unbeaten in their last 8 games in Serie A. So what do you think would be the result for this match?
Is an Emilian derby, Derby Emiliano, because
Yes.
both teams are in the same region, and is a balanced match. Sassuolo have to have a reaction after the defeat against Lazio, but Bologna is in a good period of shape, and so for me the final result could be a draw.
Okay, brilliant one. So next one is going to be Lecce Torino. So Lecce is coming from a draw 1-1 with Udinese, while Torino is coming from a defeat of 3-0, the terrible one, against Inter. What do you think is going to be the situation in this one?
We know how Lecce play. We don't know what really be the strength of Torino, because the Torino is very difficult to understand.
Because of the continuity, you mean?
Yes, no, but also because when seems that Torino could do the can go up, no?
Yeah, they can proceed, go further ahead. Yeah.
Yes, it's very difficult. For me, Lecce is favored because they play at home, but I will not be surprised if Torino could win. It's very difficult to understand. Probably a draw. In this case, the most easier result is the draw.
Is a draw. Of course. Why not? Okay, next one would be an interesting one, Juventus Verona. So Juventus comes from a win, 1-0 against Milan, and Verona comes from a loss, 1-3 with Napoli. Juventus have won their last 3 Serie A matches against Hellas Verona, though. What do you think?
Juventus has a great opportunity, because if it will win, could be first in the standing, because play before Inter and Milan, no? But it's not only for the first or not a place of the standing. I believe that for Juventus is important to win, and I believe that they will win. absolutely favored in this match, and I don't know if I can to think a lot about this match. It's important, the victory for Juventus, and Juventus will win for me because he's very favored, and also because Verona in this moment is not so strong, and also Allegri could have Vlahovic and Chiesa, probably, and so are two important players for Juventus. Juventus only for the tournament is a strong team.
Okay, yes, also because that's where their focus is. So, of course,
exactly.
They're going to be stronger than the other ones. Okay, next one is going to be Cagliari Frosinone. So Cagliari is coming, as we were saying before, from a draw 2-2 with Salernitana, while Frosinone is coming from a defeat against Bologna, which I actually, before that match, I thought that Frosinone would have won that match, but they lost. So what do you think about this match?
Fiorentina is doing a good tournament. Cagliari has some problems, not only for standings, but because it's difficult for Cagliari to score.
Yeah.
In the last match, scored 2 goals, and is a good news for Ranieri. Cagliari, for me, is favored and have to win because play at home, and also because needs to do point.
Yeah, absolutely. They would need these points. Okay, next one would be Monza against Udinese. So Monza is coming from a 1-0 loss against Roma, while Udinese is coming, as we said, from the draw with Salernitana.
I am curious to see if the change of the manager in this week could be important for the reaction of Udinese. Udinese is weak than 1 year ago, and the change of the manager could be important for a new feeling. But Monza is favored, play well, is more confident that Udinese. Monza is favored.
Okay. No, as you exactly were saying, Udinese are winless in their last 13 Serie A matches, which is a lot. But of course, Monza is favored, but it's football. You'll never know. Maybe the new coach would do its own magic and something would change. We'll find out next. Okay, next one is going to be a big match that we're all waiting for between Inter and Roma. Both of them are coming from a win. Inter with 3-0 with Torino, Roma 1-0 with Monza. What do you think about this match?
Inter, we told that is one of the best team in Serie A, and at the beginning have to start as a favor of the match. But this match is not only a big match for the standings, but is important for the return of Lukaku against Inter. And I am very, very curious to see and to hear the reaction of the fan of Inter with probably 30,000 of whistles for Lukaku. And is a tough match for both, but Inter start as a favor of the match, and also is interesting to see, to watch, as Roma will play, because Roma came from 5 consecutive victories. Is important, but the test against Inter is completely different than the other matches played before.
Okay. Do you think that, what happens in the stadium and all those whistles of the spectators and, the fans, does it really have a concrete effect on a player? Can it really can it give them more energy, or because they want to show them that yes, I can be a great player also for this team, or no, it can be demotivating and it could have a negative effect.
Often in this situation, the reaction of the player is a good reaction, no? Because you have more strength.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Yes, but at the same time, is always a big difficult for playing. And I don't know. I really don't know. I can say that if I know a little Lukaku, I think that for Lukaku will be a more strength for playing well, for scoring. Yeah. And so is an interesting thing for this match, not only for the importance of the match, but also for this, for the reaction of Lukaku,
his reaction mindset. Of the fans. Yeah, I mean, I think that he already knows that it's going to be tough, so he's working on his mindset, and I really hope if they're going to whistle. Well, as a Roma fan, I really hope that would give him more strength. Okay. Now, next one, we're going to have Napoli versus Milan. Of course, Napoli is coming from a victory and Milan is coming from a loss. So, what do you think is going to be the situation? Because,
yeah. As I told you, in the history of Milan, of Pioli, always Milan got back up after the defeats and after a little crisis. In this case, it's difficult because Napoli play at home. Napoli has the will for for winning the match, and also the big problem for Milan is the shape or the mindset of Leao, because Leao is very, very important for the football of Milan. And in this match, it is not only a match again between Napoli and Milan, but also is the match Kvaratskhelia against Leao. Probably who is both of these two players will be good, and probably we will have the victory of his team.
Okay. Well, which team do you think will win, though? Between Napoli and Milan?
Napoli.
Okay, so Napoli is favored. Brilliant.
Yes.
Okay, we will find out, of course, in just a couple of days what will happen this weekend. Thank you so much, Massimo, as always, for your amazing insights.
We have to speak about the Lazio Fiorentina.
Oh
because
my
Lazio
God,
Fiorentina,
right.
Because Lazio Fiorentina on Monday is an important test for both teams. Lazio because will play after the defeat in Champions League, and a bad defeat. And for Fiorentina, because if Fiorentina in this season is ambitious, have to play against Lazio and a good match and a good football. And probably Lazio Fiorentina could be not the best match of the round 10, but one of the game that we will see and a good football.
Okay. And which team do you think is favored?
By Lazio, I am opening. I am waiting on a reaction, on a strong reaction
From
Lazio.
Lazio. Yeah.
Yes.
Because Fiorentina, as you always used to say, the problem with Fiorentina, they're a brilliant team. They play brilliant football, but they don't have that continuity. And their loss against Empoli showed that.
Yes. Yes, it's a good exam and a good test for to understand this.
Okay, yeah. Brilliant. Thank you again, Massimo, for all your insights. Take care. I will see you after round 10 next week, and we're going to have a lot of matches to talk about and discuss. Thank you again. Also to our spectators, if you're listening to us or if you're watching us on YouTube, continue, subscribe, like, share this episode with all of your friends. Thank you, and see you everybody next week. Bye-bye.